Hi.
Hi.
So, do you remember where we left off?
Yeah. Rey went to meet with Luke, had his lightsaber, was with R2-D2 and Chewie in a Millennium Falcon, and was about to go on the most amazing adventure ever.
This is not going to go the way you think.
Well, I'm glad you're excited, but you might want to lower your expectations just a little. Here's Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
I hope you understand what you're doing.
Don't do this.
So, since that guy Snap led the First Order back to the Resistance base after they blew up Starkiller Base, the First Order still knew where their base was, so the Resistance has to pack up their crap and evacuate in a hurry. But not in so much of a hurry that they couldn't say bye to Rey and Chewie as they left.
We need to scramble out fighters! 5 bloody minutes ago.
But the First Order gets there before they leave, so Poe goes to stall them. General Hux is all, what the hell do they think they can do with that thing? I mean, a single X-Wing? Come on, what could that possibly do? But the First Order has a super badass ship called the Dreadnought that can
incinerate their base, destroy their transports, and obliterate their fleet.
Poe knows it's important for him to distract them as long as it takes them to complete the evacuation, so before he's powered up, he makes an obvious joke
About his mother.
and risks being discovered before the last transport can take off. And this almost gets a bunch of people killed.
You did it, Poe.
He starts blowing up the Dreadnought's surface cannons and tells the fleet to come help, but the last transport gets away, so Leia tells Poe to forget about the Dreadnought and get out of there. But Poe disregards her direct order
No more commands from my Highness today.
and tells everyone else to attack it. Then most of the fleet gets blown up because they were too stupid to follow chain of command.
People believe in Leia.
But this chick, Paige Tico, does manage to drop the bombs at the last second, thanks to the Force and some kicking, to blow up the Dreadnought just in time to save the ship that Leia's on.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But she dies. And everyone on the ship is cheering like most of their pilots didn't just die, but Leia looks really annoyed.
Well, they're probably just happy they didn't get blown up.
Well, if Poe had just stopped when Leia told him to, they would have been gone before the cannon could be recharged. So yes, most of their fleet and all of their bombers blew up for nothing but Poe's bragging rights.
We took down a dreadnought.
Well, Snoke is pissed that Hux let him get away, but he says that he can follow him. What he should be pissed about is Hux letting Poe stall at all, considering
I have my orders from Supreme Leader Snoke himself. There will be no terms. There will be no surrender.
on the cruiser, Finn wakes up with no one in the medical bay. So he just wanders around in a see-through leaking suit, and not one of these Resistance heroes thinks to help the clearly lost and confused medical patient, or even acknowledge the potential slip hazard.
It's so slippery! Woo!
But BB-8 sees him, so Poe's first concern after seeing his new friend, who had his back sliced with a lightsaber, is that he's naked.
Look at the size of that thing.
So it's big.
And Finn's only worried about where Rey is.
Where? The last time he saw her, Ren threw her into a tree. She could be dead for all he knows.
Well, he knows somebody got him on the ship, so he figures it had to be her. Guess he forgot about Chewie.
Happens more often than you'd think.
That's disgraceful.
Anyway, so Rey found Luke and is trying to give him his old lightsaber back by pointing it at him like a loaded gun. So he takes it and throws it off a cliff.
What?
Yep, he just throws it away like garbage.
This weapon is your life. Next time, try not to lose it.
Oh, he's like when Yoda messed with him. That's smart.
Nope. He then leaves her alone on a mountain, goes back to his hovel, and refuses to let her in or even talk to her. So she has to bring in reinforcements. And seeing Chewie by himself lets him know that Han's dead.
Yes, very sad. Anyway.
She tells him how bad things are and that he's their only hope.
We need your help.
She's like, you don't understand. Kylo Ren is a straight up psycho that murdered his own father in front of his best friend and then said thank you.
Thank you. Don't get all mushy on me. So long, princess.
The dude is pure evil. We really need your help. And he's like, nah. So she stalks him for a while and he pretends that she's not there. But then she hears voices and goes into this tree that has some old moldy books in it.
Sacred Jedi text!
And now he cares about who she is. You'd think he would wonder about this in the first place. I mean, she went up instead of Chewie. And he had to figure out that there was some importance to that. I mean, Leia did send her for a reason. So even though he knows she's force sensitive, he's like, tough crap, I'm not doing it. But that night, sneaks past Rey sleeping outside his house, and Chewie, who's trying to have dinner, to check on the Millennium Falcon. But he can't fool R2, who tells him off.
Hey, Sacred Island, watch the language.
And he says, no matter what, I'm not gonna help.
I can't be what she needs me to be.
But R2 gives him a guilt trip.
From now on, you do as I tell you, okay?
So he agrees to help Rey a little. Meanwhile, Hux is bragging to Snoke about his plan, and then Kylo Ren comes in.
Ladies first.
Hello?
And Snoke makes fun of him.
Why are you doing this to me?
He laughs at Ben for being beaten up by a girl,
bested by a girl who had never held a lightsaber.
You knew that?
and then confirms his fears of just being a dark-side cosplayer.
You're just a child in a mask.
So he throws a baby fit and breaks it.
I was mistaken.
And then he gets ready to kill some people to make himself feel better. The First Order's followed the Resistance through light speed and is ready to blow them up again. And if they try to lose him, they'll just find their ships again. But this time, they'll be out of fuel, so they decide to fight.
Permission to jump in her next wing and blow something up?
Permission granted.
But since Poe is getting yelled at and demoted by Leia for leading the previous assault, he's all the way on the other side of the ship when she tells him to lead this one. But by the time he gets there, Kylo Ren has managed to blow up the last few ships docked in their fleet. So instead of dying like everyone else, Poe just takes a giant fireball to the face.
That's got a kick.
The plan is to speed up to get as far enough out of range of the Star Destroyers as possible, and the TIE fighters should get scared and go back.
Return to the fleet.
But right now, they still have some buzzing the tower, and even though Kylo Ren is shooting everything in sight, he hesitates when he senses his mommy.
When the moment came, I didn't hesitate.
She feels Ben too, but before we find out what he's gonna do,
I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
another TIE fighter blows up the command deck, engulfing her in a giant fireball and ejecting her into space.
That's funny. The damage doesn't look as bad from out here.
But she's able to use the Force to pull her back on the ship.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
And Poe sees her coming back and opens the door for her without getting sucked into space. But Leia is in a coma now, and all the people in charge of their lead ship are either dead or unconscious, so they go to announce who's in charge now, and even though Poe knows the chain of command, he's still like, aw shit, it's gonna be me, but then is disappointed that they moved someone from one of the other ships. You know, instead of having them give orders from the ship that they're already on.
Not what I expected.
Poe asks her what her plan is, and she brushes him off and insults him.
You might want to rethink your technique.
The First Order is now at a range where shooting their cannons won't even damage their shields. But General Hux wants to be annoying and orders them to keep firing. He's hoping that the Resistance will run out of gas soon, and that's when they'll get him. So until then, they just have to endure the slow chase.
Couldn't they just speed up?
Apparently the Resistance ships are faster and lighter, but since weight wouldn't make any difference in space, I'm not really sure how. But back on the cruiser, Finn has the tracker that Rey's supposed to follow to get back, and he doesn't want her to show up, only to get caught or die, so he plans on using an escape pod to get it off the ship. Unfortunately, he gets caught by this girl Rose, who's completely starstruck by him.
You are a hero.
I'm a big deal in the Resistance.
She's been tasing deserters, and it takes her way too long to figure out that Finn is trying to leave too. When he comes to, he tries to explain to her why he was going, and that the First Order can track him through light speed. But they figure out, with her computer and mechanical knowledge, and his experience in the janitorial arts, that they can turn the tracker off if they can get it on the ship.
But who knows where the breaker room is on a Star Destroyer?
So they run the plan by Poe, who thinks Holdo would never go along with the plan. So they're just not going to tell her, despite him just getting in trouble for not obeying chain of command. And I'm sure this has nothing to do with her not telling him her plan.
Poe, get your head out of your cockpit.
But there's a little snag. They can't get on the lead ship without being detected unless they have boarding codes, so they need a hacker and call that lady Maz. Surprisingly, she says she can hack the system no problem, but she's a little tied up right now. But she does know a guy who she would trust to do it. She describes him as a great pilot who's amazing with a gun and in bed, but instead of telling them what his name is, she just says that he'd be at a casino in Canto Bight wearing a distinct piece of jewelry.
Lando.
Huh?
Card player, gambler, scoundrel, you'd like him.
Oh, come on, a slutty pilot that wears jewelry and gambles? That's totally Lando.
Everything you've heard about me is true.
Seriously, it's not Lando.
Yeah, and Bucky wasn't a winter soldier.
If you say so.
Circumstances change.
Well, back on the island, Rey wakes up and gets a forced Skype call from Kylo Ren, who she tries to shoot. Good. Neither of them know how they're able to talk to each other, but their call is interrupted by Luke, who wants to know why there are a couple turtle nuns fixing a hole in her wall.
None of your business, that's why.
He then takes her up a mountain to give her her first lesson, but finds out that the girl who just found out about the Force a week ago doesn't know too much about it.
With the blast shield down, I can't even see. How am I supposed to fight?
He gets her to meditate and describe what she sees and feels, but when she discovers the dark side of the Force, he freaks out because it called to her.
It calls to you.
Come closer, I have good news.
He's also scared because Ben Solo is the only other one who has had this much raw strength. They must have crazy high metachlorian counts.
With that mighty Skywalker blood.
Over 20,000.
Even Master Yoda doesn't have a midichlorian count that high.
Later that day, she gets another call from Kylo Ren, who asks her if Luke told her about what happened between them. And when she says, "I don't care, I just know you're an asshole," he hangs up. And either rain came through the call, or she made him cry.
You called me a monster.
Neither would surprise me. Later on, Luke tells her that he saw the darkness growing in Ben and went to confront him, and he was attacked. And he woke up to find the temple on fire, and some of the students were dead, and Ben was gone with the rest.
You took everything from me.
On Canto Bight, Rose, Finn, and BB-8 are looking for the codebreaker. Finn is really impressed with everything. Rose hates it, and BB-8's mistaken for a slot machine. And when they don't immediately find the guy on the first pass, they go outside to watch the cat-horse racing and the animal abuse that goes on behind the scenes.
Those potholes.
But then BB-8 comes out and tells them that he found someone wearing the brooch they're looking for.
Lando.
Nope, it's just some random asshole.
Fuck Lando Calrissian.
This is unbelievable. I'm definitely gonna have some words with someone about this.
And then they get arrested for parking illegally.
What?
Yeah, so Rose decided that she would put the entire mission in jeopardy just so she could ruin these assholes' view.
For a mechanic, you seem to do an excessive amount of thinking.
And it didn't even occur to her that there might be Karens at this resort.
We'll never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
But what really bothers me is why they parked so far away. And on top of that, they had somebody tell them not to park there, and they did it anyway.
Public beach, we can't park that shuttle here.
Most of the time, they either get betrayed or tricked, but this time they actually just shot themselves in the foot.
How did this happen? We're smarter than this.
Apparently not.
Back with what's left of the fleet, one ship runs out of fuel, and everyone took escape pods to the cruiser, while the captain decided to stay and die on the ship as the First Order blows it up.
Certainly has courage.
What good will it do us if he gets himself killed?
On Cantobite, it seems that Rose and Finn have been locked up with someone who knows how to break codes, too.
What are the chances of that?
It's approximately 3,720 to 1.
Shut up. Their first phone call was to a woman who ran a bar for the past 1,000 years. If she could do it, it's probably not that uncommon of a skill.
Sorry, kiddo. This is rarefied cracking. There's exactly one guy I trust who can crack that kind of security.
But even though the resistance ships only have 6 hours of fuel left, they tell this guy to fuck off because he's dirty.
We got it covered.
So he unlocks the cell door with his toothpick, and they're still like, screw that dude, and run the other way. Luckily, BB-8 has already taken out the guards, but they went the other way through the sewer to the cat-horse stables, where they also house orphans. One of them tries to alert the guards, but Rose tells them that they're with the Resistance.
We're with the Resistance.
And the toddler's like, okay.
Well, I admire anyone who can crawl their way out of a sewer.
They then hear the guards coming anyway, and decide to release all the cat horses, and they stampede the casino that is cleared out, like most casinos do at night.
Just business.
Outside, they crush all the cars, but it's okay because Rose said that everyone here is a war profiteer. They then make it back to their ship, where it's blown up by the guards, but then they lose them in a field. When they come to a cliff, they admit that they're cornered and release the cat horse that runs in a direction that no guards are in.
Yeah, go that way and die!
But then the dirty codebreaker guy shows up with BB-8 on a ship, and still wants to help him out because he's a swell guy like that.
I mean, don't thank me now. I mean, it's the least I can do after all the kindness that you've shown me.
So they're like, alright Stinky, we'll give you a chance. Back on the island, Rey gets another call from Kylo, who's standing around shirtless.
I don't mind.
She asks him why he hated and killed Han, and he's like, why do you have daddy issues? He then tells her his side of why he left Luke. He says that he woke up with Luke standing over him with his lightsaber, drooling like a rabid dog. But I would like to know why Luke would think confronting anyone in the middle of the night when they're asleep would be a good idea. She then goes to the hairy dark side hole and gets sucked in.
I have been expecting you.
Inside, she finds an infinity mirror that suffers from delayed reaction syndrome. She asks it to show her parents, and the mirror's like, wrong franchise, bitch. That's Harry Potter.
You no longer need those.
So she gets sad and calls Kylo Ren to tell him she's lonely, and that's when their forced FaceTime gets a little spicy.
Sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much.
And that's when Luke comes in and says, not in my house, young lady. So maybe she did find a father figure after all.
And you're grounded for the rest of your life.
But he tells her to leave and storms off when she asks if he tried to kill Ben, and then won't answer. So she attacks him when he's not looking.
That was a cheap move.
But when he defends himself, he just toys with her.
The heat is swelling in you now.
And he easily disarms her. She gets out her lightsaber and he's like, fine, I'll fucking tell you.
You went straight to the dark, and you didn't even try to stop yourself.
It was actually a combination of the two stories. See, Luke was reading his thoughts while he was asleep, and saw Snoke had already corrupted him. And he thought about killing him for a second, then changed his mind, but it was too late because Ben had already woken up and saw him standing by his bed with his lightsaber on. So she wants Luke to help return him, and he's like, that's not possible.
So Luke, the guy known for believing that one of the most evil men in the galaxy was still good on the inside, gave up on his nephew, who he was training, because he had a bad dream.
Look, he's old, he's tired, he probably didn't want to go through all that again.
Bullcrap.
But she's like, look, somebody has to save the Resistance, so either you come with me, or I have to turn Kylo. There's no other option.
Then he's our lost hope.
So when he still refuses, she leaves to turn herself in. So he's gonna let this untrained kid go up against a psycho that killed her friend right in front of her with no advice, guidance, or instruction because he feels guilty.
And I was left with shame.
And now that he's completely done with trying to train Jedi, he goes to burn the tree with the sacred texts in it, but just can't do it. And then Yoda shows up and is like, watch this, bitch, and conjures some lightning to hit the tree. And Luke's like, but the sacred texts are in there. And he tries to save him, but gets a fireball to the face.
I got a little cooked, but I'm okay.
And Yoda's like, come on, be honest. Did you even read those? To which Luke says no, but it's okay because Rey stole them.
What's your hurry, thief?
So is the galaxy just full of people that look like Freddy Krueger?
Oh, no. None of these people have any scars. Giant fireballs to the face can't do anything to those moneymakers.
Is it possible to learn this power?
I mean, fire really doesn't affect anyone. Well, except Anakin.
It's not fair!
Wait, Luke doesn't have any scars? Shouldn't he look like a naked mole rat for almost dying from the Force lightning?
No.
Back with Finn, the stinky guy still wants to get paid, so he says he'll take Rose's necklace as collateral. It's the other half to her sister Paige's, so it's super important to her. And when Finn tries to get it back, Stinky Man tells him that the only way to live free is to not choose sides. And speaking of sides, the support ship has just lost fuel and has been blown up by the First Order. So Poe goes to find out if Holdo has a plan, and he finds out that they're fueling up the lifeboats and calls her a chicken shit. But Finn calls and tells him that they're almost there and to stall for time. So Poe lets them know what Holdo's plan is, even though he knows some strange dude is listening in.
You trust him?
No.
But he's also telling a former stormtrooper who left less than a week ago who's trying to get back on a First Order ship.
I want to go home!
Rey is also there and has Chewie put her in a coffin and shoots her into space. She goes to their main ship where she's arrested. She tells Kylo that she saw his future and that she knows he'll turn. But he says, I know who your parents are and I know you'll turn. And then he takes her to see Snoke. Since Finn and that group have shown up, Poe tells Holdo what's going on, and she's like, we can't wait until we completely run out of fuel to leave on these unarmed ships because a mechanic and a janitor think they can turn off a tracker with a guy they met in jail. So Poe starts a mutiny. Team Finn get to the room the tracker's in, and Stinky Man uses Rose's pendant to open the door, then gives it back to her.
Here, have a French fry.
See, he wasn't going to keep it, he just needed the metal on it to use it as a bypass, and didn't tell her to look like an untrustworthy dick. But Holdo has mutinied the mutiny and is about to break onto the bridge. But Stinky Man gets the door open, and Rose goes to disable the tracker. But the First Order is there to arrest him, along with Captain Phasma, who's somehow returned.
You are in big doo-doo. You are going to the buses.
They didn't make it.
But it's Leia who bursts through the door on the bridge, and takes out Poe.
What the hell?
So the others just give up, and the lifeboats take off.
Time to abandon ship.
Holdo plans on staying behind because somebody needs to pilot the cruiser while they escape, but I'm pretty sure a droid could have handled driving straight until you run out of gas. But she probably doesn't want to look like a coward compared to the captain of the medical ship. And then Poe wakes up on one of the lifeboats and thinks that Finn is super dead.
We have no time for SARS, Commander.
But Leia tells him that they're going to an old rebel base on an uncharted planet until the First Order is far enough away, and then they're going to send a distress signal. And this plan might have worked if Stinky Man didn't cut a deal with Hux, letting them know that they just launched the ships.
That untrustworthy dick.
Well, he did tell Finn not to pick sides, which might as well be don't trust anyone.
Sounds like a lonely way to live.
It's a good way not to die, though.
So Snoke shows Rey the ship's being blown up, so she calls Kylo Ren's lightsaber and rushes him.
I shouldn't have done that. It's not the Jedi way.
Snoke throws her across the room, and the lightsaber goes back to Ren. And it spinning in front of him gives him the idea to turn Rey's lightsaber that Snoke took and turn it on. So he cuts him in half, and then the two of them fight the guards. And of course they win because they fight well together. Plus, some of the bad guys fight each other and drop their weapons, and fall into salad shooters. But after they win, Kylo's like, join me and together we can rule the galaxy. And she's like, well, you know how this conversation goes.
Never.
You're going down a path I can't follow.
I'll never join you!
But then he tells her who her parents were.
They're filthy junk traders. Sold you off for drinking money.
And he wants her to take his hand, and he'll make her great, despite being a genetic piece of shit.
You come from nothing. You're nothing.
You old smoothie.
And her answer is to call her lightsaber, but Kylo stops it, and they play forced tug-of-war with it.
No, you're still holding on! Let go!
And they both lose. On the dock, Phasma is about to have Rose and Finn executed.
Ouch time!
But then Holdo does something unexpected. She turns the cruiser around and drives it at light speed right into the fleet, somehow cutting every ship in half.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
In the chaos of the crash,
the ship has been destroyed!
Phasma teleported to the other side of the dock and grabbed a team to hunt the only people to survive the explosion.
Look! Hey, you sir, stop it there!
But then this AT-ST starts shooting at them because BB-8 got in it somehow, but is nice enough to leave Phasma for Finn to fight.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me!
And he does alright, probably because he at least trained with this weapon.
Yeah, take this one!
But he still would have died if it wasn't for a convenient lift. So he gets in one great hit and she dies.
Lisa, think of something!
So they escape on the one ship that didn't blow up, and Hux finds Snoke and his guards dead, that Rey's stolen his escape pod, and Kylo Ren is unconscious. And just as he's about to kill him, he wakes up. So he tries to convince Hux that Rey beat up all 8 badass Pritorian Guards, him and Snoke, who spanked his ass earlier.
She is strong with the Force!
But he's not falling for that crap. So Kylo just strangles him until he does what he wants.
This gives me a hard on, but don't tease me.
So Kylo orders Hux to get the rest of the troops on the planet to finish wiping him out. Finn and Rose just barely make it before they close the blast doors, and the First Order is right behind them.
We got company.
They send out a distress call to try to get anyone to help them, but no one's responding. And the First Order just happened to bring a giant cannon that they didn't know they needed for a giant metal door they didn't know the Resistance had that they needed to destroy.
I believe in being prepared.
And because of this, everybody's lost all hope. But Finn gives an inspirational speech and convinces him to fight.
Well done. You're a rebel now.
The Resistance drive these pod racer speeder things straight at it.
Go straight at him. Don't let these thugs scare you.
But the First Order knows what they're up to and open fire. As they're being taken out, Rey shows up in the Millennium Falcon, and Kylo Ren wants the TIE fighters to concentrate on it.
I don't think they like me.
Can't imagine why.
But the speeders are taking too much fire, so Poe orders them to retreat.
What?
Well, he learned his lesson from earlier and isn't going to get all his guys killed just to take out one weapon.
But it's not the same. Right now, they're still in danger because if they don't take out that cannon, they're all gonna die.
Yeah, his decision is pretty stupid, and that's why Finn ignores it and keeps going. He drives straight at it, and even though the heat coming from the cannon is melting all the metal around him, he's completely fine.
But I guess it's a really good way for him to die. I mean, he's the guy that always wanted to run from danger, but now he's charging right at it, and a former stormtrooper being responsible for saving the Resistance?
A good death is its own reward.
That really would be a good way to go. Too bad that's not what happens.
This could be how we win.
No. Somehow, even though Rose was going completely the other way, she still manages to not only get ahead of him, but crashes into him from the side, and neither one of them die from the crash, the heat, or get caught by the First Order.
Why would she do that?
Because apparently she loves him now.
That came out of nowhere.
So, her admiring him earlier for being a selfless hero doesn't matter. And then she says,
That's how we're gonna win. Not fighting what we hate. Saving what we love.
And he's like, that's what I was trying to do, dumbass. And for some reason, they're not shot at when they're right in front of the First Order.
Are we blind?
But then Kylo Ren orders them to blow the door and take no prisoners. Inside, the Resistance knows that their message has been heard by multiple people, but no one's coming. But then Luke walks in.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
Tells Leia that he can't save Ben, but he'll face him.
I know my son's gone.
Wait, he couldn't shoot her earlier and she thinks he's beyond help?
Well, she did get shot and has a head injury. And after he killed Han, it's not hard to believe that he took the shot.
This is not how I thought this day was gonna go.
He then walks out.
Ha! He's insane.
And Kylo orders everyone to shoot him, but they all miss.
What is the point of all this?
So then he orders everyone to wait while he goes down to kill Luke himself.
Family reunion, yay!
And while this is happening, Finn managed to drag Rose's unconscious body past everybody.
Finn! Rose, you're not dead!
He and Poe figure out that Luke is stalling, so they can escape.
Skywalker's doing this so we can survive.
But for some reason didn't just say, hey, I'll stall him, you guys get out of here. But there isn't supposed to be another exit.
Hell, how did he get in here?
Some rescue. Came in here. Didn't you have a plan for getting out?
They then realize that these crystal foxes that were in there with them are gone, so they must know a way out. Luckily, one of them waited for them to catch up and follow it out.
What are you looking at me for? Follow him.
But when they get to their exit, it's closed up. So they think they're dead for sure.
We fought to the end.
But Rey is tracking Leia's beacon, and while she followed it, she was scanning for life forms. She sees the foxes running out, so they land, and she levitates the rocks blocking the opening.
Well, couldn't Leia have done that?
You have a power I don't understand and could never have.
They then all board the Falcon and take off, while Luke still fights Kylo.
They were running away.
He's so sure that he's won, but Luke tells him otherwise.
Impressive. Every word in that sentence was wrong.
In fact, he's not even there, and was just projecting himself from the island.
What did you think was going to happen here? I'm gonna walk out with a laser sword and face down the whole First Order?
But now that Luke knows that they're safe, he lets go, and while watching the sunset, he dies.
I came to this island to die.
Rey and Leia both feel his death, and Rey is super discouraged, but Leia tells her they have everything they need to reassure her. But what they really have is no fleet, since Poe got most of them killed, no soldiers, since Poe told Holdo's plan and got most of them killed, and a broken lightsaber.
The greatest teacher, failure is.
Does that mean she's gonna get a bow staff like Darth Maul?
I like where your head's at, but no.
We need your help.
I want you to join me.
No. I believe he's tooling with you, sir.
I've seen your daily routine. You're not busy.
See you around, kid. Go away. May the Force be with you.